Welcome everybody to episode 2 of Dota 2 Bear Lessons, and it's going to feature AUI from AUI 2000. You guys are seeing the difference. He actually doesn't have a preference, do you, Kurt?
No, I really, it doesn't matter to me which one you use.
Okay, everyone was saying it's AUI or AUI, so either one. But he plays for Team Dignitas, and he plays for Hard Carry or Role 1. He's going to be my coach throughout this whole series, and I'm megumixbear, and I'm mainly a StarCraft 2 host or interviewer, esports personality. So he's going to be walking me through this, and today he's going to go over, what are you going over, Kurt?
I think we're going to focus on the laning phase again. I think last time we got sort of an overview of the entire game, and this time we'll be just going over 3 specific games, just the laning phase.
Okay, got it.
Alright, so I'm going to just take a second and screen share Megumi right now, and then she'll be able to watch through my Skype, and we'll both be able to interact with chat at the same time if you guys want to say anything.
Do you want me, are you sure you want me to watch through Skype? Because some people are saying don't show your Skype.
Don't share Skype?
Like, I don't mind, but if you mind,
well,
I just want to be respectful of you.
Share my Skype? It was just my screen share. I don't understand. What problems are they having with it?
I don't know. I guess they just don't want me to show my Skype.
Oh.
Because it's fine.
I mean,
I need to see your screen anyways.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
I think it's the best because if you watch through my stream, then you're going to get like a 10-second delay between when I say stuff and it appears on the screen. Whereas with Skype, it'll happen right away. Right, so the first game we're going to jump into is Megumi playing a Windrunner game. We're actually just going to cover the laning phase, which is around the first 5 or 6 minutes. For this episode, we're going to go over 3 laning phases, and then we're going to try to play a game together and do the laning phase and see if we can do it a bit better, or improve on it, or see what we need to work on. So this game, something that happened was that you sort of, I think you didn't really know what you're doing when you came into the game. You had to buy courier.
Oh, I was tabbed.
You're tabbed. Oh, okay, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I miss a whole wave?
Yeah, and then also
okay,
for item choices, boots first generally isn't the best. There are some really rare situations where you would get boots first. It's kind of more accepted with the 450 gold because you can afford like at least 1 branch and stuff. But I like ring of protection, some stat items, extra regens, probably a bit better. So you're tabbed out. That's what happened. I was actually wondering. So we're just gonna go through this. You have 1 player DC'd, so you're just pausing to wait for them. They come back and just okay. So you win run down to lane. I mean, it's okay to use win run, but generally you shouldn't have to. Normally you want to start getting a creep block. With a creep block, which is just like you go back and forth in front of your creeps, you can push the lane a lot closer to you. The lane being closer to you is better because not only is it easier to get EXP, they can't wrap around you this way, the support to push out of lane, but it's easier to get a gank off on them. This isn't so applicable at level 1, but generally if the lane starts here, you can keep it there sort of, if you have the pull warded. But it's also closer to a tower, so if they go on you, you have a lesser distance to get back. For example, if you're down here, they go on you, you use wind run, you're only here. They still have an entire 2 screens to chase you. So it's much better for the lane to be up here, so you have 1 screen away from your tower.
Got it.
And then, let's see, so things going, I mean, you arrive a bit late in lane, which is, yeah, I mean, it happens. Stuff happens in Dota, so it's not that bad a situation. In general, you want to be hitting your own creeps and focusing on denies just because your enemy's in their safe lane, and you want to deny their safe lane any farm you can. For middle or your safe lane, you should generally be focusing on assets. In the off lane, I think that denies are more important. Middle denies and last hits are sort of even, I guess. So yeah, and you also, by denying creeps, you're also gonna push the lane back towards your tower as well. So I mean, the laning phase is just gonna progress. There's always like working on last hitting, of course. Something to note about harassing is that, okay, let's go to where the 2 creep waves are.
Oh, I know this game.
Oh.
I switched laning here because I think where he didn't. I know this game. I'm playing with viewers.
Oh, okay.
And then we're confused of who's gonna get the last hits, and then, yeah.
I mean, in something like in a long lane like this, where you're sort of at a disadvantage. Well, not so much against these two, but once light surge starts coming, you're going to be at a disadvantage. Something you can do is you just have whoever can get the last hits just gets the last hits. Both Sven and Winrun are pretty flexible in that. Something I want to note about harassing is that if you were to right-click Ursa right now, the creeps would aggro on you before you started hitting him, so they get a few extra shots off on you while you're trying to run up to hit him. If you right-click on the ground here and then right-click him, then the creeps won't aggro to you until right as you right-click. So you save yourself a little bit of creep damage that way.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Or
Yeah.
so yeah, you don't want to right-click on them until the last second possible, because when you right-click on them, you sort of break like a pseudo invisibility to the creeps, and they'll start attacking you. And of course, you want to like animation cancel after every hit if you can, because you're just going to get extra damage. You're going to be in a safer spot, and it's good to practice because it is one of the core skills of Dota, I think. And if you notice, the boots will start making you take quite a bit of damage from creeps, because every time they hit you, they're basically doing full damage. You have 8 physical resistance for 1 armor. I didn't know Dota 2 did that for half Alice, but anyways, because 1 armor is 6% resistance. But yeah, that harass is good because you stood off to the side away from the creeps as well. And that's really important in laning phase. You don't want to harass them while tanking creeps straight up. You want to go to the side, and when you harass them, they have to run towards you in order to do any damage on you. And by they, I mean the creeps. And if... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just listening what you're saying.
Okay. And generally, tanking range creeps is probably not the best thing to do. I mean, if anything, you really don't want to tank it, because if they're hitting your melee creeps, you have an easy deny because it's really close to your tower. They can't really contest the last hit. And it'll also sort of keep your wave pushed up. Whereas if you tank it, then it'll push the wave down because you're tanking creep damage and disturbing your equilibrium. I don't know how much Dota you've read or watched, but creep waves have sort of an equilibrium, and all additional damage or any damage you take from the creep sort of screws with that equilibrium and will push it further up or further down.
I guess, what do you mean by equilibrium when they have?
Well, I mean, for anyone who's like, both creeps will have the same, like, both creep waves have the same damage and HP. So, given like enough, like, given over time, they'll just stay in the same space. There's some random variants in Dota with attack ranges, but general, they'll set this spot. And all the damage you do will push it further up or further back.
Okay.
So that's basically the laning phase in this game. I mean, right now, since they're 2 melees, you do want to try to be hitting them a bit more. Like running, like you should. If you're standing here, then they don't really have an option to go on you. Since you did get boots, you do need to make use of the fact that you're faster than them. They can't run up to you and hit you. If they run up to you, you can hit them once, back up, hit them again when they turn around. And I mean, that's important in laning too, just knowing when it's okay to turn around and hit them as they're trying to back up, because you're going to get extra hits that way. And going back to the animation canceling part, where you cancel your attacks backswing to attack them again faster, you can get multiple hits on when they turn around.
Is there a delay in when every hero rotates or turns around? Or
turn rates are...
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
their turn rate.
They have a turn rate. Every hero has pretty much the same turn rate. Shadow Fiend has a bit faster, I believe. Batrider has a faster one. But in general, they're all about the same.
Okay.
I don't really know the number for it, and it's just you need to play Dota and you have to get used to that feeling of the turn rate. And then, yeah.
So I can probably sneak in more attacks.
Yeah.
Much more than right here.
Because when they come up and they have to turn around, then while they're running back, you can be animation canceling forward and just keeping on attacking them. It's like some of StarCraft, someone has a Zergling threatening your Marines. Whenever they start running back, you animation cancel forward, you'll get extra attacks off on them.
Got it.
So you need to be careful in laning of when the second person goes missing. I mean, the stun didn't hit you, but it did get your ally, he died for it. Something else to note is that in Dota, once a hero has used his spells, like the Centaur, there's basically, once a hero has used his spells, like the Centaur has, there.
Uh-huh.
It's probably better to disable the other hero because Ursa's going to do a lot of damage if he's not disabled, whereas Centaur might do some weak auto attacks because he doesn't really have anything to buff his auto attack damage.
Got it. So after he's stunned, I should have shackled the Ursa.
Yeah.
Okay.
It applies to like pretty much every scenario in Dota. I mean, during a team fight, you want to focus the supports who haven't used their spells over a support that has used his spells. Just because even though the spells are going to come up off CD, they're going to do less immediate damage. And of course, focus firing immediate damage is going to lower your team's damage output when someone dies. Because if you're hurt, you can still do full damage. If you're getting bursted down, you're not going to do any damage.
Okay, makes sense.
These are your domain, Kunkka.
And
The forest is mine.
so, I mean, you're in the off lane, so there's not too much. Your goal in this lane is pretty much you don't die, you get as much EXP as you can, and CS and creeps kills are sort of just like icing on the cake. It's a bit less applicable to lower level pubs because you can pretty much stay in lane the entire time. But as you like get into better and better games, you'll find that it's sometimes some games you'll be like level 1 at 8 minutes or something. And as long as you're not dying, that's completely acceptable. Because your safe lane should be doing the same thing to their off lane if the setup is like that.
Okay.
So basically, Dota in general is very relative. If you're the off lane and you're getting more golden EXP than their off lane, then you're winning your lane basically, even though you might be like level 1.5 with like 80 XP and 1 last hit or something, whereas their off lane has 0 last hits and 80 XP. That means you're winning, even though you're both in a terrible position.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, you sort of got lucky there. I think Centaur could have got a stun off. He sort of has a ring of regen before boots, but going in like that in general is probably not advisable, especially that you sort of like looped around here to get there. If you want to go a safer way, you can actually duck into here and eat this tree right here, and you can access the side shot from the top there. There's a lot of like little nuances like that in Dota. This side, there's no tree like that, unfortunately. So Dota has also some positional map imbalances, but they sort of balance each other out by being imbalanced. It's a weird game. So yeah. Are there any questions you have on laning or what you could have done different or anything?
So I guess from here, when is the lane phase and when do I leave? Do I leave after I push my tower, or when do I start, I guess, leaving my lane? And versus when I'm with someone supporting them versus just being a solo hard lane.
I mean, as a support, since you're sort of supporting this Kunkka in this lane, I'm not too sure, your lane sort of got messed up when the Sven sort of went to jungle and pull and stuff. As a support, you generally want to stick with your carry until he can stay in the lane by himself and still get adequate farm.
And then what would my job be from there, to roam? Or
yeah, you would want to roam. You can stack neutral camps so you can farm it later. In general, the support should also be pulling creeps. Like, you don't want to just stay in lane and take all your carries EXP, like for your short lane. I think we'll actually go over this in a later replay, so we'll do that.
Okay.
But
Got it.
for off lane, you're sort of like an off lane support in this one. In general, you want to stay in a lane as long as you can do something in that lane, and that's a sort of concept that applies across Dota. Wherever you're going, you want to be doing something. So if you're standing at your tower and the creep wave is down here because they're controlling it really well, and the support's just standing here keeping you up, you might as well just go around here, check the rune, rotate mid, maybe harass mid a bit. Perhaps you can somehow make something happen, but if you're just standing here, you're not doing anything. Like, worst comes to worst, you can just stack ancients, but it's not worth it to die to get a little bit of EXP and gold, because dying is a considerable amount of EXP, and it puts their safe lane ahead of your safe lane. And again, back to that relativity thing.
Okay, no, I guess because there's a lot of situations where I'll be off lane in a really hard game, and then I'm always behind like at least 2 levels or 3. Nothing comes up, so all I do is like stack ancients, and like, but I don't know if there's, I don't really know when to leave or so forth. So
I mean, it's sort of just a judgment call, but some off lanes, you hit like a sort of a level timing, like a Beastmaster, when you hit level 6 and you have ultimate, then you can definitely go gank another lane. Windrunner, when you're level 1, you really can't do anything to another lane.
Okay.
So you also have to make sure that by leaving, you can do something to the other lane. And you don't want to just go mid and steal their EXP and then leave, because that'll just put your mid lane at a disadvantage.
Okay. And then when my tower is starting to get pushed heavily, like say I don't die, but I'm doing my job, but it's inevitably getting pushed, what am I supposed to do there? Or my team supposed to help? Or
in general, it's okay to let your tier 1 tower go.
Uh-huh.
A lot of games, you just can't defend at tier 1 level because you're just so down on levels. Actually, there's a thing where they single pull the creeps at like 15 or 45, and then they just kill off really fast, while the tower kills your incoming wave that would normally be fighting the opposed wave, and they get a double wave, and they can just push your tower with that. If that happens, generally you want to try to aggro the creeps and drag them back to your tier 2 where they can't really dive you. But the problem with that is often the supports will sort of smoke and wrap around you, and then there's 10 creeps versus your 4 creeps, you and a tower, and they have 2 to 3 heroes, and they can just kill you and then kill the tower. And you really want to watch out for that. If you see their supports are missing, it's better to just like stand back here and not get smoke ganked like that. Or you can even like sort of run over here and be sneaky and try to break their smoke, because smoke expires on if they come too close to a hero. So.
Okay, yeah, because there's just sometimes where I don't know, like I should try to defend it, but I feel like I'll die, so I just go back kind of like in between my tier 1 and 2.
Yeah. I mean,
especially if I'm playing with like high MMR people, then I feel like I can't do anything.
Pretty much always better to just live. Like even in middle lane, if you're way behind, your goal can just become to like live. Like don't feed them kills. It's okay if you're down like 10 CS, 20 CS, whatever. That's fine. But if you feed them kills, they're just gonna get so much EXP. They're gonna be higher level. They're gonna have the gold advantage doesn't really matter so much early, but the EXP advantage is just so huge, and they're gonna go destroy the game if you feed them like 2
and then
kills.
gank other lanes because of that. Okay, got it. So are we going to move on to the other lane, or?
Just like one more minute. I want to just look at one thing. So you know that they have a lifestealer in the jungle. So one thing I want to also mention is lane positioning. So when their lifestealer is missing, you can like this is the lane, right? And here's the lifestealer is always going to come from the left side. So you generally want to stand on the right side of the lane, because then you have a better vision on him, and you can always run. It takes longer for him to get to you before he can slow you, so you can always run up. And even if he does get the slow on you, at least you'll be a bit closer to the tower compared to him.
And I tend to be towards the left. You're right.
Yeah, and also it's the same thing in middle lane, where if you think a gank is coming from top, then and you're in middle dire, then stand at the bottom side, as opposed to like standing up here where a smoke gank might come in and then you'll barely see them, but by the time you see them, you can't really run. A stun array is already flying out and you're dead.
Actually, it's it's very common sense, but I guess when I'm playing, I don't really think about those positions too much because I'm too focused. But that I think that will be very helpful.
Okay, and I guess we'll just move on to the second replay here.
Okay. Oh, Leshrac. I didn't know, what is it, in this game? I didn't know Leshrac's W has a cast time or something. Because the last time I played him was before the International too.
Yeah, and he didn't have a cast time there, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, what's wrong with my W?
Yeah, I mean, those things in Dota, it's just part of like the really steep learning curve of the game. You have to know every skill and what it does and how it interacts with other skills. So that's just something that will take a lot of Dota games to get used to. I don't think there's really any shortcut for that.
Okay. Unfortunately, someone pointed it out later because I was like, something's wrong with my keyboard.
Yeah.
W. But then I didn't realize that there's a new cast time.
Okay, so this time, I mean, you get boots first again. I really don't agree, especially if you're playing support. You should buy a few more support items. Sentries are really nice because this pull is what is going to win you the lane and potentially the game. If you lose lanes in this sort of metagame of Dota, you're going. Well, I guess the metagame doesn't really matter. If you lose lanes, you're gonna be at a huge disadvantage. And
No, definitely, I agree.
yeah, Boots doesn't.
I'm only smiling because it's one of my friend's troll builds that he gets in pub games no matter what, because it's a
Oh,
pub.
okay.
So that's why I get that combo no matter what.
Okay.
So it's kind of funny.
I mean, you rotate to bottom. Standing here at the beginning is actually something you don't want to do. You don't want to just stand there. You want to be either here at 0 seconds blocking, or here at 0 seconds checking the rune. Because
What do you mean there at 0 seconds blocking?
blocking the creeps, like in the first game, where you want to just run in front of them so that the creep goes closer to your tower.
Oh, so you either wait at the top or you can wait at the bottom there?
Yeah, you either want to wait here at the top for the creeps, or you want to wait at the rune. There's not really anywhere else you would want to be as an offlaner.
Okay.
Or in the offlane in general. I mean,
Got it.
the one other possibility is if you're really coordinated with your team and you like camp out here and you go for a first blood, but that's not so common.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, this is nice. He warded this magic bush, which blocks both discount and discount. The only problem with that ward is that it's the only ward that blocks these two camps, so they're always going to be able to counter it for free. So the only time you really want to place this is if you know you can defend it in a, like an aggressive tri lane against a dual lane, or is if you don't care if they counter it, or yeah, that's pretty. I mean, the application is if you put a ward here and they counter it, then you can put a sentry ward on it and kill their sentry ward, and you're one sentry ahead because you both have 2 sentries, and you're killing their sentry first. But or if I guess if you see that they don't have sentries, then you can just put a ward there and it'll block a lot more of their jungle, because even if they don't have a jungler, their support can always stack this camp, which is just additional gold.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a pause.
The SF has no items?
Yeah, he just has no
yeah.
items. And he's probably gonna get stopped because of that. So, I mean, since you have boots first, you do want to abuse that. You want to, as soon as you get into lane, you want to click on their items. The first thing you want to know is that Pudge is a hero with 0 armor, and he has no stout shield, or any armor, or any real regen. I mean, Bottle's nice, but it's not very efficient for regen. I mean, 600 gold for basically 400 HP is the same as 1 salve, which is 100 HP. So you want to focus all your harass on the Pudge in this lane.
So Pudge is a hero that originally comes with no armor?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. A lot of heroes have low... Like, Necrolight's not that bad for harassment, but he has 1 tango more of regen worth than this Pudge does.
Okay.
And he's...
I guess those things I need to note too.
Yeah, I mean, Necrolight also has 600 range, whereas Pudge is melee, so the Pudge is going to be easier to harass. That doesn't mean, like, go out of your way and take tank creep damage to damage Pudge, because you're also sort of a lowish HP, lowish armor hero, but, like, and if Necrolight's just, like, way up, then you can still right-click him, but if you have a choice between the two, then hit the Pudge.
Got it.
It also makes it a lot harder for them to go on you and kill you, because Pudge will pretty much always lead in this lane. It's very unlikely that you'll see a Necrolight with a Pudge behind him, as opposed to a Pudge with a Necrolight behind him. And you're going to kill the closest thing to you in general, so Pudge is your primary target there. So again here...
So I guess if it's swapped, and for some reason I'm Pudge, so I always want to lead.
Yeah,
Okay, so I don't get blocked, right?
I mean, as Pudge in this lane, you want to have a Spout Shield too. I mean, the bottle at level 1 is bad on, I think, everyone, except possibly like 1 or 2 roaming heroes, which you'll probably never see in a couple thousand Dota games. But roaming Tidehunter, roaming Sand King, no, Sand King goes boot. Like, it's very, very, very extremely situational, and you probably won't see it.
Oh, and then also, who should be getting the last hit, a Dirge or a Leshrac?
I mean, you can split it. It doesn't really matter. Both of you do about the same with farm. In a competitive game, you'll probably be having the Leshrac get it, but it doesn't really matter in a pub.
Okay. I guess that's my struggle too. Like, if there's not like a hard carry or something.
I mean, if you're learning, just go for the last hits. That's my rule of thumb. Like, at least I'll help you improve. And one of the bigger things in lane is being able to last hit while being able to harass. And you need to
Okay.
sort of balance the two, which means you get every single last hit while still getting some harassing. There are some situations where it's better to get like 5 auto attacks on them than get 1 last hit, but those are very few.
So I guess for me, for someone who's trying to get better and improve, my priority should always be last hit and then harass.
Yeah, that's pretty much the priority for everyone, I guess.
Okay, what about if I can harass or deny? Always deny then harass, or?
I think for the hard lane, like bottom for Dire and top for Radiant, and mid, I feel that denies are more influential. But
Okay.
I mean, getting gold is always really good because if you get gold for boots, like normally you don't have boots, you want gold for boots in the offlane at least, so that they can't just like run up to you and right click you and A click you all the way to your tower. So you have to sort of make a judgment call on that. In general, players go for last hits over denies, but I feel that denies are sort of underrated when you're offlaning.
Okay.
Something else though is that usually their carry will go for the last hit. So it's easier to just go for your own last hit rather than compete with him because their carry will probably have higher damage than you and a better position on the creep. So by going for the last hit, you're also like not having to compete with them.
Okay.
Just a really small note, but creep EXP is 1200, whereas deny EXP is 1000. So sometimes there'll be a chance to deny creep and it'll make them not get EXP at all, and that's really, really valuable. But that's, yeah. Sort of.
Wait, say that again. How much XP from creep again?
So creep EXP range is 1200.
Okay.
Deny range is 1000. So there's that 200 gap. You get 62 EXP from a melee creep. You get 41 EXP from a range creep. If you have 2 people in lane, then the range creep will give 20. It won't split the extra 1. If you have 3 people in lane, the melee creep will give 20 each. It won't split that extra 2. So that's why solos have a little bit of advantage. We can also just briefly touch on deny numbers. If something's denied, melee hero gets 36 XP, range hero gets 18 XP. So denies are more potent against range heroes than they are against melee heroes.
Okay, good to know. And they have got it.
Yeah, it's just one of those balancing things because what would happen in Dota is that in general, range heroes are better in lane. And melee heroes, sometimes they can't get as much last hits and EXP, so Ice Frog sort of just did that to balance out the laning part.
Okay.
I mean, something else that you didn't say was you sort of auto-attack their creeps, which is not very good because you want the lane to push out. But something else that I did, I don't think it was actually on purpose, but it's really good. You aggroed the creeps and drew them in, which caused your creeps to move into their tower. And then it pushes the lane out. Does that make sense? Like you pulled their creeps forward, so your creeps sort of went around them and went to the tower. And that's something you can do.
So they die. So they don't get those XP or last hits.
Well, it's harder for them to get the last hits. Some people can still do it, but the more important part is that it pulls the lane back. Because for example, a hero like Pudge, if he has this entire like 3 screens to rot you, then he can kill you from full potentially. But if he has 2 screens, it's like a lot lesser chance. He has 1 screen to your tower. There's no way he's killing you unless you're really low already. So that's something you can do if the creep equilibrium is too close to the tower. That's why a lot of carry players either have really good supports, which just keep the enemy offline, unable to go close enough to aggro, or they push the lane out a little bit further in a 1v1 matchup.
Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah, so, and whenever you can, you want to right-click your own creeps to drag the creep wave back. Well, try not to miss any last hits. Like, going for the last hit over that deny is probably good, because there's a tower attacking it, and there's 2 heroes that you have to compete with relatively low damage on last track. So you're just laning. Again, here's a place where you could drag their creeps forward, their creeps would go here, and then the lane would push out. Yeah. And again, trading harass is perfectly fine. Something else you can do, I think, I always mention this like every time I play a game, and I think it's really understated, that's why I do it, is when you're at full mana, just cast a spell. Maybe it hits, maybe it doesn't. You want to hit it, obviously, but at the very least you get mana regen going, because right now you're just losing mana, basically.
Oh, you said that last time. That makes sense.
Yeah.
What ails you?
The same way as if you're at full HP, you're also sort of losing HP. It's a bit less with HP. You don't want to take too much damage, but it's nice to just have a little bit of regen going. And just if you're full HP right now, you could just right click him, maybe tank 1 or 2 creep hits, but that's okay because you're going to regen that over time anyways.
Okay.
So we're just going to keep going through this laning phase.
And I guess when should I be like cautious that Tree Man or Nature's Prophet is gonna come?
I mean, it's really hard to say, and I mean, this lane setup is not really a normal lane setup, but he doesn't really have kill potential on you, unless Pudge gets a roll off because you both have tangles. So you don't really need to be cautious about Furion unless you're really low or the Pudge is already on you. Since you have boots and the Pudge doesn't, that basically means you don't really need to care about him at all. Dirge sort of needs to care about him a bit, but yeah. In general, you have to be wary about the jungler, and it's good that you're standing on the right side, because even though he has a TP, it's like he can also walk and gank you too, but it's a bit different for Furion. I mean, he's going to TP for a gank.
Okay.
I mean, if you play the lane cautious as normal, then Furion should not have any gank. Like, Furion's sort of an opportunistic ganker. He's only going to gank you when he knows he can get kills from it. And the only way he can know he can get kills from it is if Pudge or someone's already on you. So you just play safe.
Already on me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Enigma, Enchantress, Chen, Max, etc. They're sort of more like timed out ganks where they can't really sit here and wait for an opportunity, or they're just losing EXP and gold. As a side note, if you do see them sitting there, just back up. They're wasting time.
Okay.
You're wasting a little time. You're wasting more of their time because you have other heroes on the map doing stuff.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, Furion sort of hard to call on that one. It also depends on the Furion player. Some players like to farm a lot more. Some players like
It's a
to
teleport fast too.
Yeah.
So I noticed.
It's 3 seconds, so
okay.
it's quite hard to call. So he's good though. Like it's pushing up towards you, so you're gonna be able to get more EXP, more gold, and you're gonna be safer.
Okay.
So yeah, and we're just gonna go through this a little bit more. We're gonna go to about the 6-7 minute mark. That's where I would say is the laning phase completely ends. In general, the lower level games have longer laning phases. So laning phases will probably
Because
decrease.
people don't know what to do.
Yeah, they don't know when to start leaving the lane, and
Yeah.
it's better to stop laning against each other and start going to kill the other lanes. Your Shalfien's doing surprisingly well considering he had no items at the start, but he did get the chicken killed, which is unfortunate because that makes their lane so much stronger. Pudge, if you also want to click on them periodically, especially when they go to the side shop or they get the courier arrive, check what items they have. Pudge now has a stout shield. He's going to be a lot harder to harass. I mean, stout shield is going to mitigate your damage by about 30% in this lane. So you can just focus on harassing the Necro if he ever comes up. You still want to use that spell though, and you want to be wary of standing right here in the open because he does have a hook opportunity on you.
Okay, wait. So when I'm right here, you know how we want to get that mana regen going?
Yeah.
Which skill should I be using to burn? Should I be trying to stun or should I be using my W?
Well, I guess it depends on the hero. For you, it would be a stun because Edict would hit creeps and push your lane. It also splits between creeps, so you would probably do like 10 damage with it and nothing else. Whereas a stun, you can sort of target over here. The easiest in general for skill shots like these, like Pollen Arrow, Shackle Shot, Power Shot, Split Earth, Lena Sun, anything like that, is when they're going for a CS, they're going to be standing still while they're doing their attack animation. So that's your window of opportunity.
Okay. I guess, and also, sorry, one more thing. If I'm in the laning phase and I'm less shocked, when should I push, like, when is it good to, like, push rather than to play passive? Like, when is it better to, like, hurry up and target the tower?
As a support, in the off lane, I would say only when they've left the lane. Because you really don't want the lane to push up so much. If they're pushing middle though, and you see like 5 heroes mid, then you definitely want to apply some pressure, right? You want to still carry a TP, of course, so if they dive your team, you can still go help them. But if they're all mid, then you can push the tower. Pushing also has the effect of you're killing the creeps slightly faster. You're killing them down here instead of up here, and you're auto-attacking them down while still getting all the last hits. So you also get a bit more farm before you have to TP. I guess example is if you're killing them here, then you might get like 3 creep kills. If you're killing them up here, you would only get 2 because you're trying to like keep the lane back. And then suddenly you have to TP. When you TP, you have 1 more creep here than here.
Okay.
And so yeah, so you just
I guess
want.
it's situational too, huh?
Yes,
Because it depends on their lane, if they're pushing team, if they're.
Yeah, it's very situational. I mean, if you're supporting your short lane, you can sort of do that single pull at 15 or 45 again, and then you get double wave. You use Edict on the tower to break it down. But that's like sort of like a time push, and you need all your like a couple teammates with you, or really kept down off lane. Make sure they can't rotate. Yeah, pushing is very situational.
Okay.
So you do want to tango up whenever you're sort of low. So using the solve there is okay. I probably actually would have advocated using the solve there because you were missing, I think, like 340. So a tango's not quite enough. Yeah, it's better you solve. And also keeping 1 tango on you is good because they have a Furia. You don't want to be caught out with a tango because if you don't have a tango, then he has a 3-second stun instead of like a 0.5 one basically. And it's good that you at least tried for that stun. It's okay to miss. Yeah, like it really is. I mean, if you miss, you're gonna learn from it and get better at it. Whereas if you always hold back and you're like, oh, I really don't want to miss, I'm never gonna cast it, then you're never going to hit a stun because you're never even casting it. I mean, basketball, hockey, if you don't take a shot, you've basically just missed a shot, I guess. So we're gonna zoom through a bit.
Okay, so right now Dirge is completely safe to go to that side shop and so forth. I need to get better time. Sometimes I go at
I mean, when the Pudge is back here, he can just go right here and pick up his boots and run away. Since he's getting boots, he's also a bit safer since Pudge doesn't have boots. In general, though, you want to push your lane a bit more before you can go to the side shop, or just use the courier. Your courier was dead, though, so.
Okay.
Yeah. Something else to note is you also have to look at your lane partner. Undying is a really strong lane partner. If they go on you, then he's probably going to kill them all. Because that tombstone's going to build up like 3 or 4 zombies. He's going to get 2 decays off and a soul rip, and so you can play a bit more aggressive in this lane than you would normally.
Okay, I'll remember that.
Yeah. And yeah. So the linear phase is just going to progress. It's completely fine to just be breaking even like this. You're basically breaking even. I think you might be a bit ahead on CS than them. Yeah, you guys are like 6 CS ahead, which is really good. But honestly, in the hard lane, your goal is to break even. If you win your lane, then you're doing something exceptional, but you shouldn't expect it.
Okay. So this lane, like you said, just don't feed and just live, and I'm doing my part.
Pretty much it. I mean, it's a bit different in dual lane. You do need to get a little bit of something to happen because you're dedicating 2 heroes there, but usually it's just 1 hero there or 3 heroes there. And 3 heroes is obviously you need to make something happen. 1 hero is just don't die. 2 heroes is get some CS at least.
Okay.
Okay, and
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
so that's something to watch out for too. But you see here, I think also if you had just ran down, then the zombies probably would have killed the Pudge and the Lashrak, and you would got.
Okay, so there I tried to stun right away after I got hooked, so I should have just ran down.
I think the stun right after the hook was good, but you sort of turned back into them there. Let me just go back to that there.
Okay.
So you see him get boots there.
See, those times I don't know when I can run or I should like back up and kite one more time before I run.
Well, in the same sort of vein of thought as the jungler coming in from the left, since you saw Pudge go to the right, it's better to probably stand to the left because his hook won't reach that far right. And generally, as a 600 ratio, you're more squishy, so you all stand as far away from their melee heroes as possible while still being able to threaten them.
Okay.
So let's look at this. So he gets a hook off on you. Your first reaction is like, should probably be to stun, because then you have 2 seconds window to sort of get away from that rot slow. So the stun is good. He's stunned. Right now, you should basically, You have to make a
because
call.
I wrapped that.
Well, you have to make a call. You either want to use Edict because it keeps going while you're dead, or if you think you can survive, you should just be booking it. Because Dave already used all their
Okay.
spells, so you need to keep track of who's using spells. Since he doesn't have hook anymore, you're not in that big of a danger of another hook. Necrolite doesn't really have a stun or anything like that, so you're perfectly fine at this point. You can also eat a tangle, but then you turn around to use Edict. Something else is that you don't need to turn to them to use Edict. If you had just not turned to them and used Edict and continue running, that would have been fine too.
Got it.
But you sort of Edict and sort of run forward into the Pudge Rot again, and you just die there.
Yeah, I don't know too well at Leshrac, so I thought I have to be closer to get my edict on him.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. It's a learning experience. It's much better to have made that mistake than to just like, I don't know, just sit there and die and just try to like earn something else. You could have also had the option to do is you could stun him, Edict, and just right click him and try to kill him that way. So
yeah,
it's
because
really
his hook is down,
yeah.
and then the Necro doesn't have a
It's
stun
really
or
experience
anything.
judgment call. Something else that you'll probably get better at doing is eat a tango, then shift click forward, so you eat the tango, you immediately turn away and continue running. It doesn't take a lot of your time,
Okay.
but at least you're regenning that tango HP while you're fighting.
Got it.
So yeah, I mean, you'll see sort of the power of Undying here though. He's going to probably kill one, maybe two if this guy misplays it really bad. No, gets one. But at least you got a counter kill. That's not a bad trade to trade like a Leshrac for a Pudge and the Pudge is short lane. Because presumably the Pudge is worth more in that setup.
Okay.
So yeah, we're gonna go just to the 7:30 mark. And we're done. So that Edict probably isn't good. Edict's a pretty long CD. You see you have people rotating in, so you do want to save as many spells as you can.
Okay.
I
think I did that because I got boots, or I don't know.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, you had Arcane Boots out, but
Yeah.
so you want to use some mana so you can use it. Same thought as Regen at the start, but you should probably use the 9-second CD instead of the 22-second CD, especially since you have people coming in.
Okay. Okay. I guess what I probably did that is because I want to push my lane so my creeps help more,
Yeah.
or I don't know.
Yeah, that's reasonable, but for sure.
Oh, okay.
But
I could have probably used a stun
Yeah,
instead
you could have
to
used a stun
damage
to push
them
it.
in my edict.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
You also want to say
That's
the Edict
awesome.
because it does a lot more damage to a single
Pushes a tower.
target. Well, you probably won't
Uh-huh.
be pushing a tower with the first Edict because you have to
Oh.
kill them with it. But it does. So Edict does 400 damage per level in total on random targets around you. If there's like one target, then they're gonna take 400 damage, which is a lot more valuable than 800 damage split among 400 creeps.
Ah, okay. I didn't know that.
We can also just do a brief overview of damage types. So Edict also does composite damage, which means that it's reduced by armor and magic resistance, whereas your stun's magic is only reduced by magical resistance.
Okay.
There's also physical, which is only reduced by armor. There's there's pure damage, which isn't reduced by anything. And there's universal damage, which is the same as magical, but goes through BKB. An example of that is Doom from Doombringer's Ultimate. Composite and universal go through BKB, as well as physical, while the rest do not.
Does Axe ult go through BKB?
Axel is if you hit them with the under the threshold, then it goes through everything. Nothing stops Axel. It removes all buffs and then it kills them.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
I think. Oh, I remember. We fail miserably here. You can tell what I did.
Yeah. Well,
Wait,
you have
I
three
know I died.
sort of low-ish, dying sort of tanky, but Rubik and Leshrac are really not tanky. In general, after he misses his hook, that's sort of your opportunity to go for the next 12 seconds. You should try to learn the CDs on that level 3 hook while have a 12-second CD. Because he has this huge nuke that's not available to him anymore for that little bit.
Okay.
So you do need to push this in a bit further. So
Yeah, I think we fail miserably
yeah,
here.
so basically,
So
especially
here.
as Leshrac, he generally needs a setup stun to hit a stun. So you probably should have waited for the Rubik left there. So that's just another skill interaction that you have to learn through experience.
Okay, so wait him and then me.
Yeah, let him lift and then you stun. Edict here is probably not the best idea as well because there's so much stuff to tank it.
Because I take all the Yeah, I die because of that.
Do you?
I think I died.
Oh, maybe Furion TPs and kills you.
Radiant's bottom
Or
tower
Furion
is
ult?
under attack.
He's not level 6 yet. But anyways, it was sort of risky to use that. They probably could have killed you if they focus fired you or something. And that stun was good on him, but unfortunately there's people there and you guys
Oh
are...
yes, it did that.
Yeah. So, I mean...
So
They were-
okay, I guess when they're speaking in, should I not have stun and should I just booked it
Oh
right
no,
away?
that
or-
was actually really good because the best scenario possible was you stun him, you die, but all your teammates live at that point. Because you guys were
So that
really overcommitted on this tower, to be honest.
okay, so we should have left earlier, but
Yeah.
it's okay if in that next situation, like somebody CP and just stun and then
Yeah.
sacrifice myself, or hopefully I get out too.
Well, yeah, hopefully you get out, but it's
Okay.
better that you died and like your solo mid and your 2 other supports die.
Okay, got it.
So yeah, instead of going over the third replay, I actually have something I want to do instead. So what I'm
Okay.
gonna do is I'm going to go over how to play the short lane support just against nothing. Like there'll be nothing there,
Okay,
but I'll just quickly go over that. And then I guess I'll have you do it once in a custom game while be obsing you, and then that'll be the end of the lesson.
okay, sounds good.
Because I think we did 2 offlane supports and no short lane support.
So I'll be emulating you now.
You'll be sorry?
I'll emulate you. I'll copy what you're doing
Yeah.
right now. Okay.
So I'm going to pick Rubik because he's fun and people like playing him. So generally you start with 603 gold. Your 2 options are you either start with observer wards and a courier, or sentry wards and sometimes a smoke, sometimes a pooled regen, but generally you'll be spending about 300 on support items at the start. There are some
Okay.
circumstances where you'll buy sentries and something else.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I'm going to pretend I have another support, I'm going to pretend he bought me sentries.
Okay.
And I'm going to get a little bit of regen for myself. And a little bit of regen, and since I have the extra gold, I might as well get a branch.
Okay.
So when you start the game, you want to basically go to your lane immediately. As the game gets more high skilled, you'll have your team going 5-manning to an area to protect it.
Mm-hmm.
Generally there's a ward spot, or you can lay an ambush for an enemy team, or you want to aggressive to get wards down on their post spot.
I was gonna ask, so in the beginning, when you said, you know, you have the extra gold, should I always be spending all that I have in the beginning then?
You should pretty much always be spending it. The only time that you wouldn't be spending all of it is if you're saving a little bit to buy an earlier flying courier, or saving a little bit to buy an early set of sentries. Like you can save 200 gold and not buy the sentries, and
Uh-huh.
theoretically sometimes you can save that 200 gold because they did not buy observers, therefore you don't need the sentries. You can use that to get an earlier flying courier instead, or boots, which will both do more than sentries, which you can buy say 6 minutes in the game to counter their first set of wards.
Okay, got it.
So when you're learning support, I like to just put down a lane ward. I still put a lane ward down for myself because I'm not the strongest support. So you can put a lane ward here, you can put a lane ward here, you can put a lane ward here, just anywhere that will sort of give you vision of their offlaner.
Oh, what is the difference? I never seen anybody do that by the river down
This
there.
one, sometimes they
Yeah.
counter here, so you need to put one here. It also gives a bit more vision behind the tower, so this is actually probably a better ward. The only problem is it's very hard to get there early game. You have to go for a long path, and if they 5-man this way, then they might catch you out. So it is a better ward, but it's
okay.
harder to get there. It's also sort of harder to counter, because
Okay.
in order to counter it, they basically need to know it's there and put a sentry on it. It's
Uh-huh. Yeah, I always see it where you put it. Like, I've
Yeah.
seen that, but I've never seen it by the river. That's interesting.
yeah. So you want to put a lane ward down. In general, you also want to get a rune ward down. That's usually after the lane ward. Like you want to run out here immediately, get a lane ward down, then put a rune ward down. Check the rune.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So right now, the offlane is probably trying to get creeps, so I'm going to just harass him. You want to just keep harassing him. You want to be kiting him back and forth, because you're a high range hero, usually they can't match you. It's completely fine to like trade regen, just keep harassing them. At around 43, 44, you all go back to your camp, and you want to be able to stack this so that you can pull it. So at this point, you're both level 1, but you're stacking a camp. and you want to pull it to the left because by pulling it to the left, you can go here and whack them some more so they can't get the CXP. So you're beating them again.
Ah.
Yeah, it's
okay.
much better than pulling it up or pulling it to right. And then
Yeah, I usually go up or right, or I don't really put thought in that. That makes sense.
so with about 8 seconds left, you want to go back here so that you can pull it. And by pulling this, not only are you going to get level 2 from 2 minion counts, but you're also going to deny them a full wave of EXP. So they should still be at level 1 at this point. Basically any offlaner. Maybe not like Broodmother or some special offlaners like that if you're only a Rubik. But in general, you can deny any hero in a pub
Okay,
level 2.
I have a question here. So I was actually told that what I should be doing is trying to deny my creep while hitting the neutrals.
Against a double
attacking
stack,
the-
you really just want to get this killed.
Your top tower.
If
Oh,
it's
really?
double
Okay.
stacked, yeah. Single stack, maybe. In general, I always try to kill the creeps. It's the only time where you really want to deny your own creeps. I'm missing every last hit, but anyways, the only time you really want to deny your own creeps is if you're against an aggressive tri lane. Then your goal at this doesn't really matter if you get EXP. You just want to deny them EXP. If you're level 2 again, and you want to go here and deny them some more EXP, the game will sort of progress until the 3-minute time, because that's the next time you get your pull. From there, you have 2 options. You can either pull at 3:15, get a double wave, go wrap around behind it and push the tower, or you can pull it and pull this to it. But in general,
Wait, sorry, can you do that one more time? Yeah,
so
sorry.
you pull this at 3:15.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
you kill a single camp. You can either pull this camp to your single camp, which is done when this camp either
okay.
has around like 600, 700 HP left.
Okay.
Because you need to wait for your creeps. You want to time out your creeps killing it at the same time that you pull it to it, so your creeps egg onto it. Or you can kill
Okay.
it quickly and go try to kill them with a double wave, dive them at their tower.
Okay.
I prefer just getting levels in EXP over going for a dive because that's sort of risky.
Okay.
But yeah, so I guess why don't I host the lobby and you'll try to do the
Stack
short lane
and-
support, I guess.
Okay.
Just really quickly.
Okay.
And I'll message you the password in Skype, I guess.
Nice password. Somebody saying, okay. So,
So
does it matter if I'm dire?
just go to dire. It's a
dire?
bit easier in dire, I think.
Okay.
So we're just gonna start this, and yeah. So just type dash gold space 200, so you can buy your
Okay.
set of sentries. Oh shoot, I forgot to cover the counter word spots. Okay, we'll do that really quick in this game after you're done this.
Okay. And then after you do that, I need you to pick a number, and then I'm going to put in order the people who tweeted us for our last giveaway.
Sure. How many people
And
were there?
then, no, any number.
Oh, any
I'm just
number?
going to do it like how you do like eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Oh,
so
okay.
it doesn't matter what
Okay.
number. Preferably, yeah.
Preferably not too high.
Preferably not too high unless you already killed forever.
Alright. So if you pick your hero, you can, I'll enter. So
I've only played Rubik once, so I'm not too familiar with his attack damage.
oh yeah, don't worry about that. I mean, last hit in the creeps is sort of something you can always learn in a different setting.
Oh,
so
How do I do this?
just
200
touch
gold?
that gold 200. Dash gold 200.
Oh, I never knew this.
Yeah,
This is
so you can buy
awesome.
sentries. I suggest starting with a Tango, Salve, Clarity, and Branch.
Branch.
So you want to get out to lane as soon as you can. You
Mhm.
want to place the rune word, and then you you want to place a lane word, and then you want to go place the rune word. You want to check the rune, and then you want to go to lane and just beat on them, pretend beat on them.
Got it. This will be my best game ever.
Yeah.
I'll never die. Okay, so I'll go here. I actually want to try warding at the river because I've never. Okay, I have a question. Do I have a preference? Can I go through the river here, or is that dangerous?
It's not dangerous at all because you should be going there. Like by the time you're there, they should only
Am
be
I
at their
kinda
tier
late?
1 at the fastest.
Okay.
You do want to place a
read
lane
the-
ward before you place your rune ward though, because there's a chance that they
Okay.
did 5-man top, and you'll barely beat them to the rune ward. This ward is probably not the first ward you're gonna place. You're probably gonna place the other one in lane, but I mean it's a good ward. Yeah.
Oh, I missed it.
No, that works.
Oh, I thought it goes on the rock.
Yeah, no, it's supposed to like go on the rock, but it's like half under. It's a weird ward. Actually, you might have missed it. It might be in tower detection range. I'm not sure. But yeah. Anyways, so you want to go into the lane, like right away, and just stand to the left. Yeah, right there.
Here.
Yeah. And when you don't want to aggro their creeps at all, you want to just stay. You don't want to aggro them. Go a bit back. Stay in the fog so that their hero doesn't know where you are. But as soon as you see them, you want to just be beating them. You don't want to hit them and aggro their creeps so the lane pushes, but you want to wrap around them, the bottom.
Okay. So when do I start going to like get my creep? I guess like to stack.
You need to stack at 53, so you want to leave at around 44. Something else is that you want to stay out of the EXP from your carry.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. So you want to be wrapping around them. So again, yeah, pulling to the left, that's perfect. But you also want to be wrapping around them because when they run back, then you'll get more hits on them that way. So instead of going up and left like that, you want to go down and left and around them to hit them. And you already have to go back to your Podo. So what that does is it makes it a lot harder for them to get experience because they have to deal with you. So if you just pull that up.
Oh no, I missed it.
You missed 2 creeps. That's actually okay. I mean, I actually like it when my support leaves me 1 creep because I have to tank a lot less at the tower. Because, yeah. And then you want to pull
So
that.
I should be hitting these, you said?
You want to be hitting them.
See,
You
I
wanna
learned
beat them
opposite.
down.
Okay, got it.
So you want to just wait till 45 to hit them again. You don't want aggro again, or else they're going to come up. But you do want to aggro at 45, so you can pull it.
Oh no, do they see?
Okay, so you got another 2 creeps.
What is this? Okay.
I mean, the only thing you have to do is kill this by 3 minutes. Ideally, you would kill it a bit faster so you can get back to harassing them. But it's not too bad. I mean, just don't hit it until 15 so that you don't screw up the aggro. And then you can pull it properly. So, you also have to sort of get used to the creep tether ranges for their aggro. And so you're not taking any damage from them. Something else is you want to kill that big alpha wolf first because he's killing your creeps too fast. Your creeps aren't doing any damage to the neutral creeps because they're all dying to his aura.
Oh, he has an aura?
Yeah, it's 30% attack speed. So, sorry, 30% attack damage. So it's quite strong. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So all that really matters, like you want to get the last hits, and it's something you can, but that's something you always want to work on in Dota in general. So it's not too important for this. So you just want to try to make sure this is dead by the 3-minute mark so it respawns. Ideally, you wouldn't have a range creep left over because the range creep is going to push the lane. But that's okay. So again, you want to go back to pull that 315. And then I want you to, I guess, try to pull the hard cap to it, which is the one to the bottom left.
Okay.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So can you pull it at 315? Yeah. I mean, it's a lot easier when you have a carry hero in the lane also controlling the creep aggro. I mean,
so when would I pull the...
I would pull it when they have a total of like 700 HP left. So you would start going now. And you don't need to worry about the last hit, you just need to connect it. So you need to hit it and start running towards the wolf again. And you can right click it to control the creeps. But yeah, that's perfect. You got the pull off. You're gonna deny full wave and you just got 2 additional is the
it's
EXP.
actually handy.
It's also a lot easier on like people like Rubik.
Should I be denying these ones now? My creep or no?
I would try. Yeah, you can if you want. I would try to kill it, but you
Okay,
do
kill
want
it.
the range creep to at least get under half. So right there, it was best to hit your own creeps there. You actually made the right decision because you want your range creep to go to half so you can deny it. For pulling this hard cap, it's better to sort of pull a tiny bit early and use your spells to finish off the medium creeps than to pull it late and just completely miss it.
Wait, say that one more time, sorry.
Something you can do is when you're pulling the hard cap, it's actually quite hard to time it out properly. So you can pull it a tiny bit early and sort of use your spells to give you a little bit of leeway by casting your Fade Bolt onto the creeps to finish them off faster.
Okay, so I do want to kill everything,
Yeah.
and I just want to make sure it's killed by 3 minutes.
Yeah. I really like
actually,
just auto-attacking it down and getting as much EXP as possible. The problem with denying it, your own creeps, is that while you're denying it, taking a long time to kill that cap, their offlaner is in lane getting EXP. And the first priority is keeping them at 0 EXP. The second priority is getting your own EXP and levels and gold.
Okay. I guess that's something I have to keep in mind. It's a different habit because I've always been taught that I should be denying my creep and then hitting the last hits for that.
Yeah. Well,
for the creep especially, so...
always get last hits and then... I mean, denying it isn't too bad, but you get less out of it.
Okay.
So, while both of them might keep them at very low XP, one of them will give you a bit extra. And since Dota is sort of a game of relativity, you want to be getting the most for yourself while keeping them as low as possible.
And then way I can go back to my lane and help my carry faster too. Okay.
For sure. I'm just going to screen show you really briefly as well now. Just to show you some counter
get out of this
response.
game,
Oh no, I'm going to use this game to show you.
Oh!
So it will just be
enjoy
easier.
this?
No, I'm just going to share screens and ping it on my screen.
Ah, okay. Got it.
So just tell me when you can see my screen and everything.
I see.
Yeah. So for Dire, you have easier counter wards than Radiant does. You can put a counter ward up here or down here, both of which will see everything. There's one spot that this ward doesn't spot, but it's very like precise and no one ever places it. But in general, I just put a counter ward here, and usually you should keep vision up here to see if they place one here. But this one will counter this one, anything in there, and this one.
So can you ping it one more time so I can remember where to put my sentry?
So you want to put the sentry just right here.
Okay, at the bottom of the steps. Okay.
And then
Got it.
for Radiant, it's a bit harder. Your support or your carry needs to sort of keep vision on the bottom. So while they're like going to ward, because this will tell you whether they warded on the top half or the bottom half. You cannot counter everything in the Radiant side with one sentry, but you can counter everything with 2 sentries. So you either want to ward here, just below this rock, because this rock sort of is the aggro line. Sorry, the respawn line. So you'll put a sentry here, that will counter up to the camp, but it won't counter it if they put it at the top. Or you want to put it just straight up above this tree here, that will counter this spot, it'll counter this spot, it'll counter anything at the top, but it won't counter it if they put it here.
But it would counter it if they put it at the top of the creep.
So that's why it's a bit more common for teams to 5-man to bottom lane, because this camp is harder to D-ward, and also sometimes teams level 1 Roshan, not really, but that's the main reason for 5-man to Radiant side.
Okay, that's really helpful, because I tried to counter ward and I blocked my own creep barely. It was sad.
But anyways, I guess that's pretty much all for this lesson. I guess we're just gonna do a draw for the giveaway, or?
Yeah, just because. So hold on, I'm going to pull up my Twitter. Hold on. So if you can explain while I'm pulling up my Twitter what the competition was for the giveaway.
Sure. So our first bear giveaway for this show was going to be: you go into a single player game. You pick Shadow Fiend, you don't skill anything, you don't buy anything, you go mid and you last hit creeps for 10 minutes, and then you tweet us a picture of you doing that. And the goal of it is to improve your last hitting.
Yeah, so some of you guys screenshot, and you guys had to make sure that you include both Owie_2000. Make sure you do follow him. He plays for Team Dignitas for those who just tuned in. And then also myself at megumixbear. And then hashtag bearpacks. So what is your number?
How about 14?
14. You guys want a bear pack, and then I'll make sure I make video and I'll show you exactly what you do. And then while I'm counting, can you think of another thing to give away? Another homework assignment or bear pack giveaway scenario. Howie?
Yeah. Oh, do you want me
Oh,
to just say that now, or?
Yeah. Like while I'm doing this, go ahead.
Okay, so
yeah.
for our next bear pack, what I want you to do is I want you to go on the dire side and play as a support and try to connect like 3 of those double pulls from the medium count to the hard count. And I guess just take a screenshot of you doing those 3 times. And yeah, and it's actually quite important to be able to do that as a support player. Even as a carry player, if you push their tower and you need to get your lane back, sometimes you need to do that to deny creep wave so the lane goes back to your tower. And the 14 wasn't the last hits in 10 minutes, so it's just for selecting who won from the pictures tweeted at us.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't do it by. We're not penalizing you if you didn't get that many CS. I know some of you guys said you're like email concerned. No, everybody has a chance. We just really appreciate you guys participating at all. So it makes it fun. We want to keep this interactive as possible. Same with feedback. If there's anything that you want me to implement better or Aoi2000, just tweet at either one of us. Send us an email. Any means, contact us. Right? Any. Comments on Reddit, on YouTube, anything we post, and we do read them. So, and we want to improve, so definitely do write us. We'll be happy to help. Okay, so it looks like 13, 14. Oh, somebody submitted twice though. More than once. Okay, so who's Tony? At 604. Ten minutes, yes, back to supporting. So you won, and if you're not watching right now, I will make sure I tweet this with either winner. Put this on the notepad. So congratulations, and I'll make sure I update you. And if you're watching, can you please email me at megumixbear@yahoo.com and email me your address so I can send it straight away. All right, so I guess for now, any questions from the chat for Aoi or myself, go ahead, feel free. Can someone said to please say how to win the next bear pack again? I didn't understand, sorry.
Sorry, do you want me to do that?
Yeah, someone asked to say what the next giveaway would be again.
So I want you guys to go into a game, custom game, matchmaking game, anything, and I just want you to do that normal medium cap pull on either Dire or Radiant, and then link another camp to it, and do it properly. Get all 4 creeps, kill both camps, and just take a screenshot of yourself doing that, and do it like 3 times, I guess, and yeah. And then you need to tweet at myself and Megumi at AONSuper2000 and at megumixbear, hashtag bearpacks, I think.
Yeah, bear packs, and then so that way it's easier for us to know.
Yeah.
It's just easier for because I copy and paste and put it on a spreadsheet, and then I can make sure it's randomized.
And yeah.
Any questions concerning the games? I don't know if you have any or the lesson today. Who won? No, we didn't play. We just went over a complete lesson. Okay, you have a question for Ali. Go ahead. Type away. If the other offlaner harasses you while you're polling, what is the correct response?
Well, it's the same thing as you harassing them in their lane. It's just that they're coming to you because it's fine to trade regen against their offlaner since you have 2 sets of regen. Your carry's gonna have regen. Your carry can start heading towards you as well if you really need help. but you just right click them back, basically. You should be the same level with them. You should both be level 1 if you're doing this properly. So you can just equally trade region there. Something that was stated in my chat is that a lot of times there's 2 heroes there. If there's 2 heroes there, you have to be a lot more careful when you're trying to harass them at the start. But the basic theory behind the start is the same. You want to stack the camp and use it to deny them EXP. That deny of EXP means that you and your carry will hit level 3 when they're only level 2. So that will basically just win you the lane, that level advantage. And someone else is asking how I prioritize polling versus harassing when you're defensive tri lane versus aggressive tri lane. You should pretty much always get the pulls off. There's almost no situation where harassing is better than polling. Because with harassing, you're going to burn up just a little bit of the region that they probably have 5 to 6 sets of total in their aggressive try, maybe 4 sets if they're playing a bit risky. Whereas harassing, you're denying XP, which they are already really lacking.
How do you handle wards when you're trying to stack pull?
How do I handle wards?
Yeah, that was a question.
Well,
How do you handle
the
wards?
ward should be down before you start stacking or pulling. So you don't really have much interaction with wards at that point.
I guess when it's mid lane, mid game, sorry, like
Mid
after the first wards die.
I mean, after 6 minutes, you're generally not pulling very much.
Okay.
The only time you're really pulling is to get your lane back. You stack and pull it. Or if you really, really need the XP, then you can do it. But in general, you're moving around the map, helping out other lanes, and the laning phase is already over by the time the first night comes.
No, he's gonna rephrase his question. He's talking about sentry wards, so he'll rephrase it. Oh, he said sentry wards when they put down sentries. When you're stack pulling.
So when
So
they
can you-
ward your
can you
pull, or
I'm gonna ask him to explain more. In the meantime, while he's doing that, somebody's saying, will Radiant mid pulling, Dire small camp pulling be in a lesson? Oh,
sure, we can
Sure,
cover
we can
some
do
of the
that.
or like esoteric pulls if you want. I hate that mid pull so much. I think it's broken, but we can probably cover that in the future.
it seems a lot of people have a lot of questions. Oh, okay. Somebody said sentry wards. No. When they put down sentry wards to block the camp.
Then you kill their sentry wards with your own sentry. I mean, you're gonna have to try to deward that camp. And if you can't get the deward, then you're at a huge disadvantage, and that should probably not happen in any pubs that you play, to be honest.
He said sentry wards block the creep spawn. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but the ward spots I showed for your sentry ward should not block your creep spawns.
Yeah, definitely. So where he placed it, so it could respawn and so forth. Somebody's saying, oh yeah, so the person teaching me right now, coaching me is Aoi_2000. He plays for Dignitas. He's the hard carry role 1, so you should definitely follow him on Twitter.
And here's sort of a question from my chat. Is there any interaction between Quelling Blade and Orb of Venom in Dota 1? You had to acquire Quelling Blade first so both could work, and the answer is just no. They interact completely fine in Dota 2.
And someone asked, can you please repeat the pull times?
This just on Dire side, it's 15 or 45 for the minion count. On Radiant side, you're probably safer if you do it at 16 and 46.
He said, somebody asked about killing 2 camps with 1 pull.
Or what? Sorry, what do I need to explain for that? Or
Yeah, if you guys can be a bit more specific or give more detail to what you're asking, that'd be great. Somebody said don't stack at 52. It's too early after the patch. You're supposed to stack at 53 now.
52 works fine. So you just can't stack at 51 anymore. I guess 53 is safer, but 52 will get you back to lane to harass you faster. So 52 would be optimal. 53 would be you don't make as many mistakes.
Somebody saying, okay, what if you stack 3 camps? When would you pull?
If you shouldn't stack 3 camps. Stacking 3 camps means that they're just going to kill your creep wave and you're not getting XP. The goal is to both get XP and deny the creep wave. You don't want to just kill the camp and not deny XP, because then you'll get a double wave delay, no push. Their off lane or dual lane will get additional XP that they shouldn't have. And you don't want it to just keep killing your creeps, because then you're not getting any XP. We're talking about like optimizing your play here. So you want to get XP while they don't get any, which is better than they don't get any and you don't get it.
Can you ask Ali to teach people how to stack ancients with a dominated neutral?
You send your neutral to the ancients and you aggro them at 53 and you pull it away. Sorry, I mean, I don't think there's really anything to teach there. You're just gonna have to learn to multitask, and if you want to get better at that, I suggest saying if you play a little bit of StarCraft, it's gonna help you play Dota. So I like playing additional games like that. I don't really know if there are any tricks to that. There is like a trick where you like shift kill 3 commands 8 times or something, it'll auto stack, but I don't think that's really good for learning. But sort of cool if you want to just learn it. It'll be on Reddit. You can Google it probably. I don't really know it.
And then also, for those of you asking if I'm going to type out the bear pack giveaway again, definitely. So I'll update you guys. I'll make a video on the current one and the winner, what he gets, and then I'll make sure to add that at the end. And we'll definitely clarify it. And make sure you do follow like AUI _ 2000. And then you tweet at both of us and then include the hashtag bear pack and then do your screenshot.
I'm just going to go over a couple questions from my stream as well here.
Sure.
So for a triple stack, the timing to pull it is still going to be 53. If you are getting really high, you can pull a second earlier because the creeps sort of bump into each other on the way back, so they'll be able to stay out longer. Efficiency of Rubik's pulls at Radiant side, you should basically only use that pull if you're against an aggressive tri lane and they've blocked your medium camp. The medium camp is going to be faster. Perfectly done on Radiant, you can hit level 6 at around 7 minutes. Perfect spawns maybe a bit even earlier than that. Whereas that pull is not quite as efficient and you're also using a ward. Recommend stacking when doing the Radiant mid pull? Yes, I recommend stacking the small camp before you pull it. The D-ward spots for the Dire Radiant pull, we'll go over that. You can probably look at that in the VOD, I guess, because I don't really want to look at that. And a good time to buy Midas is, I mean, if you think the game is going to go on really long, then get a Midas. The timing doesn't particularly matter. You probably shouldn't get one if you've died twice. And ideally, you want to get it within 6 minutes, I guess. But if you get it at 8 minutes, it's not too bad. But you just need the game to go on really long after that for it to be worth it. And double pulling is faster jungling than stacking and pulling. And that's about it.
Okay, are you finished with your questions,
I
or
think
can I ask
so.
you a few more? Okay. Someone asked, so when you're stacking the ancients for the 3rd stack and so on, when do you pull?
If you for every 2 stacks on there, you want to pull like a second earlier. But it's really depends on the creeps there. I mean, you just sort of have to test it out and through experience get better at it. In general, I pulled the first one at 53. I pulled the 2 stack at 53. I pulled the 3 stack at 52. I pulled the 4 stack at 52. With the changes to pulling, you can't really go above 4 or 5 stacks. So that's pretty much what you're gonna get.
Somebody said, isn't level 1 ancient farming just a complete waste of time?
I don't really know the context of that question,
Okay.
but if you can't get anything in the offlane and you have a hero that can farm ancients and you can keep stacking it, then it's definitely not a waste of time because you're going to be able to kill those ancients eventually. Your carry can come over later if he has cleave or AoE or anything like that. So, I mean, ancients is a lot of gold in XP to get later, so stacking is basically never a waste of time.
They said Tinker level 1 ancient farming.
Oh, I wouldn't do it with Tinker because it's better to jungle normally at level 1 with him than it is to ancients at level 1. But I mean, yeah, I think it's a waste of time if you can get stuff in other lanes. But there are times where you can offlane Tinker and you can't get anything in lane, and it's better to ancient stack and try to do those than do nothing in lane.
All right, guys. I think that's a lot of questions for today. So if you have any more, just make sure that you do post them. Tweet it at us. You can follow. You can see at the top is Twitter on my screen. Let us both know. Let us know on Reddit posts that we put. We also started a forum on Team Liquid, so if you can put it there. We're really open to suggestions and so forth, and we really love your feedback. So any questions or any suggestions there would be much appreciated. So I think that's about it for tonight.
Yeah, and just thanks for watching.
Yeah, thank you for watching, and thank you for tonight.
Yeah, you too.
Okay.